Hello there, Capricorn, and welcome to your July 2026 reading. This is for all Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. We're going to have a quick look at some big astrological influences, and then we're going to pull out the cards and see what they have to say for you this month. We do have Mercury retrograde. Okay, it started on June 29th, the same day as the full moon in your sign, so you could still be feeling some of the aftermath of that. Mercury retrograde goes until July 23rd. We also have Neptune on July 7th, 7/7, going retrograde until December 12th, 12/12. So that in itself can have some numerological significance there. It can be very spiritual, but we'll get to that in a second. We also have Pluto retrograde, which is ongoing until the middle of October. And Saturn is stationing retrograde on July 26th. Okay, so that is very important for you guys and all the way up until December 10th. So this can be retrogrades are a time to reflect, refocus, regroup, renew. Sometimes we can revive things in a retrograde. We can have a second chance. We can go back and revisit something and maybe make something new out of something old. A great time for a pause and reflection, though. And we have the node shifting as well. North node and south node have been in Pisces, Virgo. And on July 26th, they will now shift into Aquarius and Leo. Very different vibe, probably a faster vibe, perhaps. And it's all about the future, right? Rather than about the past or closing doors. So where are we going in the future? What else do we have? We've got a lot going on, okay, but we're really just going to have a look at the middle of July. This is going to be the biggest, most potent energy, and it's also some energy that astrologers have been waiting for decades, okay? It's a really cool geometrical formation of the planets. It creates like a basket shape, and it's called Barbeau's basket, and he's like kind of one of the granddaddies of astrology, mundane astrologer, right? How does this affect our day to day? And he actually predicted the pandemic in 2020. He died a year before that, unfortunately. So, he didn't quite get to see the outcome of his prediction, but he did predict all of this. All of the outer planets are active, especially in the middle of the month. We have a new moon in Cancer on the 14th. Beautiful new moon, followed on the 15th by Uranus, sextile Neptune, massive, massive global awakening. Okay. Uranus is the great awakener, also brings shocks and surprises and some wild energy. And Neptune, yes, is very much tied to creativity and water and liquids and things like that, but it's also very spiritual in its energy. So huge, huge shift for humanity there. We won't feel it all right away, of course. Some of you will. Okay, others, this will come in when it's meant to. We also have more aspects with Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Jupiter all in a week. Okay, from July 14th all the way up until about the 22nd when the sun goes into Leo. And of course, it's not just like one and done energies. These things will play out over a little bit of time, but this is where all the shifts happen. So there is one opposition in there, which can be very difficult. That's the Jupiter, Jupiter in opposition to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So this can be really really challenging. Okay, but there's a lot of other opportunities to break free. This is a time of transition, transformation, awakenings, growth, possibly endings, if that's in the cards for you. We do round out the month with a full moon in Aquarius and also a sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo. And so this is very, very potent energy there that leads us into August when we go into eclipse season. So let's see what the cards have to say for you. And first, we've got reflection. So there you go. And especially that middle week, 14th to the 22nd of July, is going to actually be a really good week to let go of like the minutia of your day, let go of the little things, and really just kind of pause a little bit. Great week for meditation. Great week for looking at like your long-term goals. But it's also just kind of awakening to the big picture. So just allow some things to come in. We do have this reflection energy, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. Okay, so kind of a little bit of moony in that energy, right? Which, like I said, we've just had a full moon in your sign. So some of that energy is carrying through into July, right? Maybe you're getting clarity on things, excuse me, or perhaps you're trying to get some closure on things, or working on the last little bits of something for it to come to fruition so you can move on and go with something new. But with reflection, and especially illusion, we may need to get to the truth, the heart of the matter. And so, whether this is something internal or maybe it's just something where you're tapping into your intuition, there's something going on around you with a person or a situation, and your intuition is like, dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper. And so, you need to shine a light on something and get that clarity. We also have Gaia coming out here for you. Wonderful earthy energy there, wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual understanding. Part of the way that you might benefit from meditation is through nature. You're an earth sign, right? So you may naturally gravitate to parts of nature, whether it's the forest and the trees or plants. Maybe you're a little bit of a green thumb. Quite a few Capricorns are. If you can't go outside, then maybe you live in the middle of a concrete jungle. Bring the outside inside, right? Bring more plants into your house. Like, they cleanse the air, and they also probably really they dig your energy, you dig their energy, and it can just make you feel more connected with Mother Earth. But this is a time of spiritual growth and understanding for you as well, and maybe gaining some more wisdom. Beautiful energy to come out. If you are confused about anything, again, connecting with nature in some way is going to benefit you. Okay, put your phone in your pocket or turn it off, because if you're out in nature staring at your phone, you're not connected with nature. Okay, so to feel alive and connected, the forest, the trees, a flower garden, a river, a lake, a pond, a stream, right? Maybe you connect with the ocean or the water. The ocean is very powerful, right? And it can just be just that energy where you just sit 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. It can really help you feel alive. And you just never know what kind of messages you may have pop into your existence there when you do that as well. Let's get some more cards for you guys. Coming in, we've got the Death card right there. Okay, so change, transformation, regeneration, and rebirth. So this can be a time when you feel like you're coming back alive, or maybe there's some changes that you have your eye on to make. This can be a transformation and evolution in any area of your life, but especially you yourself and your spiritual connections as well. This can be spiritual growth. Here also, the Death card does bring endings, new beginnings, births, deaths, and second chances, right? Rebirth. So Pluto is retrograde, and Pluto does rule the Death card. It brings in some Scorpio energy here. So you could be dealing with a Scorpio person, or you might have Scorpio really prevalent somewhere in your chart. But ultimately, where do you need to change? Where are you wanting some growth in your life? What new things do you want to start, and what do you need to put an end to? And this Death card can represent a whole bunch of stuff, right? And but the underlying energy here is change. Now, this is connected with your 8th house of shared resources, things you share with other people, also inheritances as well. So you could have some of that going on as well, depending on your circumstances. Crossing you, we've got the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is a beautiful card. It's Cancerian energy. Okay, Mercury right now is retrograde in Cancer all month. Okay, Cancer energy is about your house, your home, your family, your children, your safety, your security, right? Where you feel at home, where you live. And it's about nurturing. It's very nurturing energy, but it can also be, because it's the sign of the crab, right? It can also be about going sideways, right? Back and forth and back and forth. And when we actually need a clear sense of direction. So this can be where you maybe feel as though you have been going back and forth on something, or you have been going, like not in a straight line in some way. And so, what do you need to do before that change can occur? You need to sort some things out or figure out what path that you want to go on. You may even need to make some changes right now in order to get yourself moving forward. But the Chariot card itself is a wonderful card. It's one of drive and determination. Your willpower, your ambitions is what moves you forward. The actions that you take bring you to the finish line. And the Chariot, even though it's in your challenge energy, it's still an energy of victory and success. And it's because of the actions that you've taken. But in order to get that Chariot moving in a straight line, we've got to be in alignment. So your masculine and your feminine, right? Your feminine of receptivity and creation, and your masculine energy of action. And when they're in alignment, right, this is when the wheels start moving forward on the Chariot. This can also be alignment of your physical being, your material world, and your spiritual world, right, as well. And when they're in alignment, again, things move forward. So where do we need that alignment in your world in order for you to move forward, right? So you may need to take a step back in order to take a giant leap forward and have that wonderful change come in. Again, you may need to change something in order to get that Chariot card moving forward. But the Chariot is a card of destiny, the stars aligning for you. It becomes easier to overcome your obstacles and your challenges. So focus on the finish line, focus on where we're going. Okay. And, where do you feel like you need more solid foundation, or where do you need to plant roots, right? Because some of you might be changing things like where you live or who you're connected with or what you do for a living, right? And maybe there's just something shifting within you. But the Chariot, like I said, is a wonderful card. And it's just about, okay, when can I get going, or when is things starting to align for me so that I'm not don't feel like I'm going sideways. One thing I didn't mention with the all the planets in the middle of the month is that they're all at 4 degrees, and fours, stability, security, stability, all that stuff, right? Um, Couple synchronicities coming in here, at least one. The reflection card is card number 13. I don't know if you can see that. And the death card is card number 13. Okay. And, 13 in and of itself, right? It is about that change and transformation, but it's made up of a one, action and passion and focus and new beginnings, or a new approach, and threes, which are teamwork and collaboration, but also creation, the basis of manifestation. But we put the one and the three together and we get a four. That's how it reduces down. So you do have a four and a four. So I do feel the middle of the month in some way is going to be fairly transformative for you. Whether you just awaken up to your dreams and some possibilities, or whether you experience some spiritual growth, or maybe you're more than willing to let something go in order to expand your horizons. Crowning you, we've got the Queen of Swords. Look how beautiful she is. The Queen of Swords, this is your thoughts, this is your focus, what you're thinking about. This is also your goals, right? So where's your head at? Queen of Swords, beautiful, right? The Queen of Swords as, an energy of thinking clearly, making decisions, trusting and tapping into your intuition and wisdom in order to gain clarity, focus, and make the right choices. Queen of Swords is also really awesome energy for communication of all kinds, but also for boundaries. Where do you need boundaries in your life? Because this can be where you're kind of going a little bit side to side. And so maybe someone doesn't take you seriously, or they keep pushing the envelope. And so something's got to change there because you need to move past this, right? And if people aren't going to respect your boundaries, they don't respect you. And even though, right, you can be very disciplined, right? You are ruled by Saturn after all. Sometimes we need to learn those life lessons, right? So Saturn can really help you, even though Saturn can hold you in one place for a while until you sort some things out, right? And boundaries are a big thing. We sometimes it can be exhausting, right? Upholding some boundaries. And this might be where, maybe for some of you out there, someone gets some mixed signals, right? Because we stand firm in our boundaries and our convictions one day, and then a week later, we kind of, oh, I don't have the energy for this, and we give up. And that doesn't actually work. That doesn't actually help. So in order for someone to really take you seriously, you've got to be ice queen up there. Okay. You need to put your emotion aside and you need to really be firm in your boundaries. We can even put boundaries up within ourselves as well, just to keep ourselves on the straight and narrow. But there could be also a very important person that you are talking to in the month ahead. Whether they give you some advice, if you ask the Queen of Swords for some advice, be prepared for what you're going to get back. Okay, because she doesn't miss words. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. If you say to the Queen of Swords, "Do I look fat in this jeans?" and you've got your stomach hanging over and it looks like you can't even walk because your jeans are painted on, then she'd probably be like, "Yeah, you should probably size up," right? It's going to be that kind of thing. She doesn't mean any malice. She's just saying it like it is. So if you have that person in your life, you already probably know, okay, if I really want the truth, I'm going to go and talk to, Susan over, down the road, or, I'm going to call up my bestie kind of thing, right? So just be a little bit aware of that. But overall, Queen of Swords, really good energy, okay, whether it's a person or whether it's you. Beneath you, we've got the Five of Wands. Okay, so we do have some turbulence coming in here. Okay, so maybe you just don't feel quite centered. This is in your subconscious and your feelings. This is like kind of also what's like motivating you through the month, right? But the Five of Wands, we can look at that a few different ways. We can look at that as conflict and competition. We can look at that as a battle, some drama, maybe. So if there's some drama anywhere, you might already be feeling a little bit of turbulence. Um, but this is kind of what you want to clear out. You want to move on from that. The Five of Wands can, while it can be, a little bit of a challenging energy, it is a five. Okay, it can also be exciting opportunities for change, but you have to put yourself out there. I often do get the Five of Wands come up when people are, uh, ready, or getting themselves ready, for looking for, say, a new job, or putting themselves out there for love, whatever it is that requires a little bit of competition, right? You might be looking for love or a new job or a promotion, but so might other people be. But you have the ability to rise to the top. But you will never rise to the top. You will never get what you want unless you put yourself out there. And so, this Five of Wands, you might already have this inner knowing that I've got to go and I've got to go fight a battle. I've got to go and compete for what I want. I need to find a way to rise to the top so that I get seen. So whether you're trying to sort out some drama, just feeling a little bit topsy-turvy, okay, which we can be feeling this month for sure, or whether you know that something has to change, right? This Five of Wands is showing up for you. So this can be motivating you and driving you forward, right? It's not necessarily hindering you, right? So maybe you have to deal with somebody in the month ahead and they just kind of, it's like, okay, maybe a family member, Five of Wands comes up with family dinners, right? You got a bunch of kids, and mom and dad at the table, and, the siblings, it's like, okay, I love my sibling, but I hate my sibling at the same time. And so they might all be competing for mom and dad's attention, or, one up each other, right? Well, this is what I did, and this is what I did. And then it's just like exhausting, right? So you could have that coming up, and you might be feeling some anticipation. We have the moon, and the moon, interesting. I love that this has come out, because the moon, this is in your recent past. It's the energy that's slowly exiting out the door, but it still has an influence on you here somewhere. So the moon cycles, we've got the moon with reflection. So again, there's some things that have been coming to fruition, that have been coming to a culmination of energies that has been closing for you with the moon that was just in your sign on June 29th. But just like that reflection energy, the moon can bring in illusion, right? Something isn't quite as it looks. So we need clarity. We need to focus on something. We may need to unearth something. Your intuition is telling you that there's something just a little bit off, or that there's something that you need more information on. It's like, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't look quite right. So so this could require just a little bit of reflection and meditation. This can require getting out a big old flashlight and just shining your light in the corner of something, just looking for fine print somewhere, or asking deeper questions. But the moon is ultimately about those cycles that we've got in our lives, right? The moon cycle is a 28-day cycle. We've got a new moon and we've got a full moon, and then we go right back to that new moon again. And so the ebb and the flow of life, is really important to remember and embrace. We don't need to live our lives by the planetary motions or by the moon cycles every single time or every single day. But when it's in your sign, it does have a profound effect. But the moon can also represent your fears. The death card can bring up something out of the deep, right? Sometimes we fear change, right? Maybe we fear something new, or maybe it's the fear of letting something go. And so in this energy, is it like kind of supporting you, okay, to release and to transform, because that's how we get that chariot going in the forward direction rather than stuck in a pothole, okay? So, so if there is something that you need closure on, then actively, right? We're active with the 5 of Wands, actively find a way to close that cycle out, right? It may be just cutting some cords. It could be establishing or reinforcing those boundaries once and for all. Like, I know I've been loosey-goosey, but I'm not going to be anymore, and stand firm in your convictions. But whatever it is to, just to sort those things out, because there's something really positive trying to transform here for you with that chariot card. Your future energy. By the end of the month, the Hermit is where you shall be. The Hermit is wonderful energy. Okay, it is. You got a lot of big energies, right? But the Hermit is Virgo energy. So, I mean, you could have a Pisces person, you could have a Scorpio person, a Cancerian person, or a Virgo person. It might just be very people-y here this month. But ultimately, this is also about your energy. The Hermit is an energy of self-reflection, of meditation, soul searching. And what is the purpose of it? It's to light the lantern so that we can see our next steps forward, so we can figure out which path that we're going to take. And you can get some answers. When we go into hermit mode, it is a solitary energy. So if you've been maybe contemplating a relationship, this could potentially be your outcome. Okay. And especially when we've got the death card there. Okay. I need to sort this thing out, or I need to put a close to this thing so that I can move forward. Okay. And that hermit card can have you, being single and solitary, but wiser and better off for it, though. Okay. But the hermit is very spiritual energy. It brings in some healing. It can bring in definitely a sense of direction on your path. So if you've been feeling like you're at a crossroads, this is like where you're going to figure out where your next path is, what's opening up for you. But I feel like you're also going to be feeling a little bit calmer, because this is Virgo energy, and this is associated with the 6th house of health, happiness, and well-being, and some healing here for you as well. So this can be really beautiful. You could get a sense of purpose with this here as well. So it's a very calming energy, very grounding energy, is earthy energy here as well. So it's pretty good, right? But again, you've got a lot of big energies coming in here. And so, having a good head on your shoulders, Queen of Swords, absorbing the wisdom or the information that's coming in for you, and then figuring out, what do I do with this, right? So it can be really beautiful. Excuse me. Let me get another card out here for you. My throat's a little bit froggy right now. It is in the morning. I'm drinking some coffee, so maybe that's part of it. Anyways, looks like we got a twofer. There we go. Yep, we do. So let's see what they have to say for your final words of wisdom. You have healing energy. Okay, just like the Hermit brings in healing, you've got the light code for healing here as well. Healing what ails you, healing relationships, getting yourself back on track, finding closure. All this beautiful healing is coming in there for you. And we have soul tree. Now, your soul tree is, I myself, this is a relatively new deck for me. It's been around for years, but it only just came into my possession. Excuse me. And when I did a reading for myself, I also got the soul tree. So this can be about finding a perfect tree, literally, to sit underneath, to meditate, to talk to. Never underestimate the language of trees. They don't want anything from you. They just enjoy your company and give you some wisdom. All those rings on the tree, right? Those trees are all older than any of us, pretty much. So this can be about grounding yourself within earth, finding that tree in the forest that you just love. It's not the weirdest thing ever. Okay. Hug a tree, right? All that kind of stuff. So you may have the language and the ability to talk to trees in some way. Just sit underneath one and enjoy its company. But the soul tree is also about your roots, planting your roots, and about branching out, right? And so this can be a period of growth for you. Okay, get your feet on solid ground, especially before you do any meditation or anything like that. Make sure you are grounded and rooted, and then allow yourself to expand and to grow. Your soul is growing. Your soul is embracing. Your soul's not growing, but your soul is, well, maybe it is. Your soul is here to fulfill a contract in your life. And then when you're done fulfilling that contract, maybe you got some freedom, or perhaps you pick up another contract on the side. This is all about your soul and connecting with the light and having spiritual growth and, soul searching for the Hermit and your soul tree here. So, really getting a foundation of who you are and why you're here. So again, some of you might get some really interesting messages, not just this month, but also as we go into August with eclipse season. And we also have Lionsgate portal there, which can be really, really cool. So anyway, so where can you embrace some nature? Where can you branch out, and where is your growth, right? So your soul wants you to grow and expand, and this is a beautiful, beautiful light for you. I'll leave all that there for you guys. I hope there was something here for you. If so, please do like, share, and subscribe. I thank you so very much for watching. Big energies here for you. Again, ground yourself. You'll be fine. But I thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.